Hi, I'm Jim Brown. I'm here to announce my candidacy for United States Senate for the great state of Illinois. I'm not your typical candidate, that's why I'm the right candidate. A vote for me is a vote for the middle class, the class that's disappearing. I've always had an interest in politics and follow it closely. I'm dismayed and disappointed by what has been happening in Congress for the past decade. The United States Congress has dropped to single-digit percentage points, the lowest approval rating since polling began. Less favorable than the IRS and even less favorable than Richard Nixon in the end of his presidency. I don't know about you, but 9% in my class is an F, which is completely unsatisfactory. Think about it. If your approval rating for completing projects at work was 9%, would you still have a job? Why do they? In other words, our members of Congress have been failing us and should be held accountable. The 112th and 113th Congresses are two of the least productive Congresses on record. The 80th Congress, dubbed the Do-Nothing Congress by President Truman, was far more productive than these past two. Most people believe that members of Congress are more interested in advancing their own fortunes, both politically and financially, than promoting public interest. Let's face it, lawmakers cater to the interests which finance their campaigns ahead of the citizens they represent. When this happens once, shame on them. When it continues to happen, shame on us for electing the same people into office election after election. I equate this to Albert Einstein's definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We need to stop complaining about what does and does not happen in Washington and help ourselves make a difference. I've always told my students, as well as my children, that apathy is not the way to go. You can make a difference. Don't wait for someone else to take the lead. Well, I'm stepping up. I don't have the money my opponents have or the grand scale of resources, but I do have the drive, passion, and love of this great state of Illinois and our country. Our current senator has been in Congress since 2000, 5 terms in the House of Representatives, and now in the Senate. The leading Democrat has been in Congress since 2012. Does it make sense to have either representing our state as the next senator when the approval rating of Congress is at an all-time low? When they are both a part of the dysfunction that exists in Congress today? Again, if your productivity was as poor as the past 2 Congresses, would you still have your job? If you were part of a system this inept, would you still have your job? The answer is obviously no. I am Jim Brown and I want to be your next U.S. Senator from Illinois. I will be running as an independent. Unlike my opponents, who are partisan politicians, I will work with Democrats, Republicans, and independents to make the necessary changes to give the middle class their voice back. I will work for you, not the interest groups. No one owns me. We need to cut the interest on student loans down to 2% or less. I will work to change college tuition to at least 50% tax write-off for all the families who qualify. I will work to improve the Affordable Care Act. The middle class is disappearing and that needs to be reversed. We need to invest in our infrastructure. We need to invest more in science and technology. Federal funding for research and development has barely kept up with inflation. We need to raise a minimum wage. There are too many people trying to raise a family with what the current minimum wage is, and they struggle every day to make ends meet. We have to reverse the Citizens United ruling. We are approaching a great moral and economic issue of our time. The middle class is shrinking, while the rich get richer, and money has become much, much too powerful in politics. It's up to us to do something about it. I am appealing to all the people of Illinois who are tired of politics as usual. Independents, Democrats, and Republicans. Our future is on the line. I believe in grassroots, and I believe we have our voices. We need to build a country that works for all of us, not just the top 1% or even the top 10%. Let's get our voice back in Washington. When I get elected, you will be electing someone that will work for your interests. Others up for election will take notice and realize that politics as usual will not work any longer. If they do not step up and work together, they too will be voted out of office. I plan on traveling throughout Illinois before Election Day to listen to your questions, concerns, and complaints and how you feel they can best be met. Please visit my website at jimbrownforussenate.com and sign up to be a volunteer, make a donation, or just get to know me better and find out my stand on the many different issues facing us today. Now is the time to take back Congress and restore the middle class.